Welcome everyone to the listening room with Intrinsic Living, and we got the magical Sanji here, a mountain monk of 20 years, which fascinates me, and I can't wait to hear more details about his life's journey. It's just a very profound man. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about emotional resilience. We're going to talk about healing emotional wounds, creating authentic connections. And today is all about connection and how we actually see that. We're going to move into effortless meditation because we both are very special and have a nice part in our heart for the meditation side of the world. And really just about unlocking your true potential. So Sanji, I'd love to introduce you right now. If you could just tell us a quick little thing about yourself, and then I'll get working on the connection side.
Okay, thank you so much, Craig. So nice to be here. I was a mountain forest monk for more than 20 years, and now I try to help a lot of people. We do a lot of charity work also, and as a meditation teacher, and many things are happening. We even are involved in things like suicidal preventions, building up lives, and so many things we do, and we do many charity work in many places. So it's a blessing to be here. So thank you so much, Craig.
Oh, excellent. I'm so happy to have you here with us as well. Really looking forward to this series, doing it together. Now, today's topic and theme is really about connection. And I think it's just a really great way to bring yourself inward, because I'm all about the inward stroke and talking about and feeling it and the emotional resilience of it all. That's where my work is. And we do healing as well. So we do a lot of that, but I know that's your forte there. But from a connection point of view, it got me really wondering about what really is connection. And one of the things that I see is, and my belief is, we were born with it. It's not something that we have to learn. It's not something that we have to go and get. But what we do is, over time, we lose it. We lose that ability to connect. We just get caught up. And I like to say it as we get caught in the head and we start to worry about things. The stress comes in, the anxiety moves in, but we actually lose that true connection. And from my perspective, to actually have it, you must connect with yourself first. You heal yourself. And then you connect on a much deeper level to the outside world. And that's when life can become bigger than what you are. And you sort of move from that individuated self to that transpersonal self. And your purpose changes. You actually get your purpose. Your passions come in, because it's not just about you. You sort of dissolve the egos. The identities don't mean as much. And you just find that you sort of connect more with yourself. So you're not rattled, you're not thrown out by people. It's, if someone doesn't like you, you can take that on, but it doesn't stop you doing what you're doing. And that's the key thing to it. So I look at it as though when we're born, we are born connected. It's exactly how we come into this world. So when we're in the womb, we're connected. I mean, we can't live without being connected. And then we're at the mercy of who that is, the carer that comes to us first. And this is before, when we're inside the womb, and then we're born, and then generally we're handed for. I have 3 children, so I'll do this firsthand, as in what happens to me is, they pretty much, the baby comes out and then it's whisked away by someone, and that's connection as well. So how you relate to that right from the beginning of those carers that are first hand on to you is really how it can start to sculpt and how you will be conditioned a certain way in life. And that's a connection itself. So that's connecting with someone. And then when you're a child, you don't really have that logic where you can say, oh, hi, that's Sanji, and that's my dad over there. You don't know. It's just, you just connect. You have to feel it. It's very emotional. And that emotion is stored in images in us. And that's what really keeps us connected to the world. And that trust comes in, the resilience comes in. There's so many different aspects of life that come in from connection. And then you can be connected to an environment, you can be connected to so many things, even to the point where it's a one-way connection. As in, I might feel a connection to you, Sanji, and you may not feel it with me. But that doesn't mean I wasn't connected. So it's really internal. It's a very internal, personal belief system that connection comes with. And it allows you to move beyond the realms of just what your mind's telling you. You can feel those connections. And I've walked into rooms before and I've felt connected in that room before I met a person. And I've walked into rooms before where I think, oh, I don't know if I really want to be in this room. I may stay or I may go. But it's that real connection that you get, that intuition, or I like to call it that intrinsic value that you have, where the mind's not driving it, it's you're feeling it. And that's where the emotions really come from. And that's what I really value in my work. So I work with the leaders and the coaches and the high achievers in doing that. And I really like to draw on that point there is where it starts with connection. It starts with connecting to yourself. And how you connect to yourself is how you are portrayed out there to your team or your workforce or your family or your friends. That whole connection really comes from you first. And then you have the other side where people connect with you. And that's how you can receive them. And that's a whole different avenue as well, but it's all connection. And that's what I love about the connection side of it, because it works the same in your own inner self. And it works the same in work. You can relate them very, very much to be the same. The same principles apply, but it must come from within. I'm a heart leader, so I want to work there. So when you come from the heart, the authentic side of you starts to come out, and that's when your superpower starts to come. But a lot of people can't connect on that level where they're worried about what someone's going to think, or they're worried about what they'll look like, and they don't connect. They actually break the connection. And that's, to me, where the world needs to work. And from a perspective of work, well, most of us do need to go to work. So you want to connect to it. It may be a means to an end, but you still need to connect.
A strong driving force forward. Yeah? You don't have to take bows and arrows and start shooting around, but it's an example, like you pull it backwards, but then there's a very powerful force that goes forward, no? So likewise, a retreat means there are so many nice locations, even meditation centers for that matter, or just to be with nature in a safe location, just do the background check and all, and it's nice to be, no?
Wow. It just blows me away. It really, really does. It's I find it fascinating though. I just want to learn more. It's something I'm compelled to learn more about it. I'm quite neutral on all those things, but this is I'm drawn to this for some reason. It's I guess it's let's open it up to some of the people in here. So Paul,
Sure.
would you like to take yourself off mute, mate? Yeah.
Yeah. Buddy.
How you going? Thank you for coming. I really do appreciate it.
Yes. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Oh, that's okay. Hope you get some value out of it. It's so we're talking about connection today. So would you like to express what connection is to you and like what it actually means?
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Connection, I guess, is when you get down to it, for me, is comfort. If you're connecting with somebody, it would be a feeling of comfort and trust. So I'm having a little trouble with the internet. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So on a personal level, it would be being enough to be real to yourself and being real to those around you is when connection forms. Otherwise, for me, I'll put up a wall and things don't really become something that's inherently me. It becomes more of a performance than an actual connection. Connecting with myself, being honest with myself is the other form of connection, where I can actually allow myself to be honest and open and not put on a fake show, to be connected truly with myself. Outward connection is one thing, but the connection within yourself, as one, is probably almost as hard as forming a connection with someone else, is actually forming that connection with yourself, to set your boundaries, to stick by them, to not bend to the rules, to not conform to what you think you need. And when you find that connection, I find that when I'm honest and find that connection with myself, I find a lot more peace within myself.
Okay, excellent. And what are the types of things you do to try and bring that connection back when you feel like you're just slipping, or you get into an environment that is not quite, you don't flow in it? Like what do you do there to stay connected? Because I believe the connection comes internally first.
Yeah.
And you'll only connect as far out as what.
Yeah. I try to take a second just to assess the situation, just to stop and take a breath and have a look around, and then ask myself the question: are you in this room, or are you in your head?
Yeah. Okay.
So I'll stop and take a breath, and then I'll go off an emotional feeling, and then I'll say, is that a real emotion, or is that something I've created in my head? So it comes with pausing and looking at the situation, I suppose, is one of the habits that I'm moving towards more so now, and having more success with.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And Sanji, what have you got something to say there? On what Paul's talking about?
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, the honesty is one of the best connections. No, Paul.
Beautiful.
So even for us, like when we do sessions, or like even if you close the eyes as monks, and then when you say like do some Dhamma talk or something, then sometimes it's like a machine like that is rusted, no? Then when you open your eyes, you feel like people are scratching their heads, or like watching, looking at the time, or like moving around. Then you're like, are you all right? Or you ask something, oh, I have to pick up my kid. Why can I use the restroom, please? Or something. Then okay. But sometimes even with closed eyes, you don't see nobody. Sometimes online, and it just flows. It's so nice. Now also I feel very comfortable and relaxed, and things just come, just like screensavers on a screen or something, no? Even with closed eyes. So yeah, and honestly, like for me also, like I cannot. It's kind of silly, but I cannot like keep hide things, and then so it's difficult even to talk like directly. So I really have to say, hey, I think like this. Please mind me. I don't want to be rude or not anything. So, but I cannot be. I'm not a perfect or person. No, I'm not somebody superior or anybody. But you have to be honest, right? So otherwise, you cannot even have a nice conversation. No, if you have something inside, and you try to put a nice fake face, and you pretend, it's so difficult, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and you're touching on perfectionism there as well, and it's something that really doesn't exist from our side of it. It's where's to go after that? There's no growth left. It's so, but it can also heavily beat you up. So it can create, well, I guess, a disconnection. If there's a connection, there's definitely a disconnection as well, and it can all become the same thing. But it's really how you default to it, and and what you take on. So who we got here? We got Laura.
Laura.
No, thanks for coming in. You don't have to speak. It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but this is just an open room. Remember, it's no one will come at you or anything. It's free to say. You don't want to talk. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Your thumbs up if you're You're enjoying it? Okay, there you go. That's funny. So, okay, well, Sanji, that's a good question for you then, I guess, is in what does disconnection feel like for you? Because you speak of such a humbling, connected person, and your purpose is beyond you. So what happens when you disconnect? Or how does disconnect play out with you? Or does it even? Is it just something that you've gone beyond now and it's and let's speak truthfully. So it's what happens there? Because there's times when you would very much so disconnect and you would fall back to that negative outlook or that negative feeling or that negative emotion. And you can start to take things the wrong way. You can start seeing life the way that it's not meant to be for you. You go against how it's really playing out. So what's disconnection for you, and what have
so
you
in a
been taught?
personal aspect, like I feel when because until full enlightenment, people have different stages and different levels of defilements. But I'm not telling it's difficult for me to understand other people's situations, so I'm not kind towards them. Even if they are in an aggressive mode, I try to be and I try to work with them or help them. So, but in my personal sense, I feel like there's a because you are taught different meditations, even like you to study the mind. There's a intermediate like stage, like you have to feed the physicality as well as mentality, and you go deep, but you need powerful concentration and mindfulness. It's like you have a very powerful microscope, say like what the scientists use and all. No, they are very powerful, not like the toy ones you used to play with, no, or like
Yeah,
what
so
the
like
ones you used to as domestic purposes. So likewise you build your faculties very strong, and then you feel like when things the mind it's like in a way it's like the pure water, right? But when it solidifies or like there's something going on, it's you feel different, and then you know, okay, maybe this is not the time to speak of this, so this is so you are very mindful of what is happening. Uh, so in other people's perspective outside, uh, a proper connection, you can feel it afterwards from mind to mind also, and within that environment also you feel connected, and sometimes you don't, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
there's a gut feeling also that happens. Not that you're trying to hide, but we have to go beyond our preferences as well as our defilements. Because sometimes, or our viewpoints also, because it's our ideology, no? So there are sometimes we have to make some preferences in the uh, uh, regardless of regard in the regard of goodness or even protecting ourselves, no? But later on, in another bigger way, we can see like are we really suited to be here, or should we be here in the first place? Is it really required, or even should I say this? No, because mind is so powerful. When you make it, uh, take it to the next levels, it can do so many things, and you can rethink something even before telling, like even hundreds of times.
Yeah,
Really, you can
you
say, and
can
then you can
definitely get caught
analyze
in
from different angles, and then see like, okay, should I say this? So the proper connection towards the mind and all, I feel like more away from the defilements and the negatives. I feel that is the true nature. And within the environment also, when everybody is like in a very open way and very connective way, like you feel, no, like when somebody's pretentious, no,
oh
all,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah,
but when they
can't
are
hide
in
it.
their natural state, even in a very sad scenario, so sometimes they are very honest and like uh, so then you really start feeling it, or you can hear it and no recognize it. uh, so that makes me like inwards as well as outwards very connected.
Yeah, there's a lot of layers in that. So you've got you're talking about yourself there, right? And then you come across someone, and there's a whole new layer to that again, is because if you feel that connection and that person's not feeling that connection,
Sure, sure.
yet you both need to exist there.
Mhm.
What's your belief system around that? As in, do you stop judgment, or do you just let it be, or do you go to your own place and
No, we
and
definitely
allow
have
that
to.
connection to just be what it is?
Yeah. In if there are people or two people, or if I'm trying to help somebody, I surely there were teachers like they said, like, not that we are in such a higher place or anything. If they are in some difficult scenario, they said like the best thing, if you can put yourself into that situation or level and just try to take them, grab them by their hands and slowly walk them to a better place or better state or
Yeah.
even higher, no? So in a common ground, sometimes we have to adapt and adjust and do and understand. Surely the judgment has to go away, but we can decide, no, is it helpful for this person or is it harmful? In that aspect, we can think, no, but we don't try to condemn nobody. So there were people who had done crimes in their life, even in
Yeah.
addictions, some big mistakes in life, but we come to a common ground. Okay, we are all humans, we all can make mistakes, no, and everybody they can make themselves better, or even saints for that matter, no. There was a nice story,
Yeah.
like a saying that every saint had had a past, every villain has a future. It's very nice, right?
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful way to look at it. It's I
uh,
think you're drawing towards empathy here, as
yeah,
in
yeah,
being able
sure.
to put yourself on their level. So as much
And,
as you can detest what they do, but you can
uh-huh.
still understand that something must have happened in their life to make them be
Sure,
like
sure.
that, or to make them make those decisions.
And Craig, you are a great coach. Please add your viewpoints and your experiences with people whom you met.
Okay, well, definitely, I'm never shy of talking, but it's I believe on that level there is you're moving into, it's still connection. Okay, there always has to be connection. So to have any type of empathy or even compassion, you've got to have a connection, and
Sure.
you've got to be able to come to their level, and you need to sit with them in their space, and that means you can't judge. As soon as you come in the judgment side, it becomes a one-sided matter, as in someone's better than the other, or someone knows more than the other. Whereas if you come from that empathy where you can actually sit with them in their space and just be with them and hear what they have in their life and move forward that way, I think that's similar to what you're talking about. I call that empathy, true empathy, where
Sure.
it's again beyond you, it's bigger than you. Whereas we tend to, and I've said this to Paul before, I know that it's what happens is we tend to say we got empathy, but what happens is it's always around people that are close to us. So if someone was to fall over, a close relative or a child that we know, or child normally different, like we all seem to have a bit more empathy towards children. But what happens is if someone falls over, if you know them really well, or they're close, they're in your posse or in your network or your association of friends, you have that empathy where you'll run over and you feel compelled to help, and are you okay? And you go above and beyond. Whereas if it's someone that you don't know, sometimes you can just look at it and you can see the humor to it. You can see it as something else. The empathy is not there. It's not true empathy. It's not authentic. So it's the true connection is when you can sit there and you can see it for what it is and not pass judgment to it, but actually come in on that level. That I believe that's what I try and do anyway. Whether if right or wrong in your opinion or your belief, it's what I would do. I wouldn't. I would try very hard to stay with that person and just stay connected to that person and be with them in the need that they want. So it's not trying to fix them or trying to resolve something. It's more just being with them and being at the table with them and having what they need if I have the capacity to do it. Because I'm not for everyone. I coach, but I'm not for everyone. It's and because some people, I mean, I'm far from perfection. I mean, I can trigger on people as well. So I have my needs as well. But I think if you can sit and you can just hold space and not try and judge or try and repair or fix or even advise, but just hold space for that person, you have an ability to just exist with them and be with them. And that can be such a powerful way to move forward. That's a connection, and that can be done without touch, without voice. It can just take place. It's happening around you at the time. And I think that's what I love about connection. It's everything, to me, everything has two sides. But it doesn't mean that you have to connect with that other side. Is because it's not black and white. There's multi-layers to those two sides. And there's four of us in here at the moment, and we all may be having very different thoughts about what's happening and what we're talking about here. So that's not a two-sided coin. It's a multi-layered. We're very complex people. And connection is very, very complex. So I think the faster you learn to connect with yourself, you can then connect better with someone in need. Otherwise, you'll go in with your value. And sometimes that value is just not for them. And that value is not helping them. But you'll push that value is because that's what you know. Whereas, in other words, listening, you become a very good listener. You need to learn to listen instead of speak. And sometimes just sitting with someone and not saying anything is the best advice you can give.
So
because
true.
they just need someone to know that they're not alone. There's someone there to hold space. And I think that's a real powerful way to look at connection. It doesn't have to be with another person. It could be, like you said earlier, is you go and you might just hug a tree. Well, I used to get called a tree hugger many years ago. Work I went to, I used to be connected in there. I used to love it in there. I loved the people. I didn't love what I did, but I loved the people. And I felt really connected with it. And a lot of people used to say a lot of things to me, and I would never repeat it to other people. And so I just let them say it. They needed to say it at the time. So I just listened and moved on at the end of it. And I think that was a really good grounding place for me to learn those skills. And then obviously then going through meditation training and meditating myself every day, you start to really connect on a whole new profound level. It's very different to when you don't. And it's a great energy source to bring to yourself and to allow that platform to actually take place. And that platform is any other way that connection will take place. It's just an open platform. I guess that's how I would explain it. Hopefully I answered your question there, Sanji, because
very nice.
I tend to move around. It's and what is anyone like to contribute to that, or have anything recently popped into your head that you'd like to talk about?
If you had to tell someone who's not connected or not present, totally random, and you wanted to give them a fast track course on, hey, this is how is a good way to become more connected in your daily life, what would you suggest?
I'll start there, and then Sanjay, I'd love to hear your answer on that.
No, please.
For me, and we've sort of got to wind this up in about 5 minutes, if that's okay. So I'll be quick, and I'll let Sanjay ride this one out. To answer your question there, Paul, is I believe the best thing to do is to sit with them and let them take that path. You're not there to fix and resolve and to teach in it. You're there to be with them and in their capacity. So by just being with them and asking them as simply as in, are you okay? A simple measure like that instead of throwing advice, because you don't know what you're going to go swimming with. But if you're both floating in the water, you're both at one with the water. You can both drift with the tide, you can drift with the wind together. But if you go in saying, this is what you need to do, this is how it is, it's like if you swim up to someone who's having trouble in the water. The first thing they'll do is try and save themselves and drown you. Did they mean it? No, they didn't. But it was just taken the wrong way. The connection didn't take place. It became more survival. So I guess there is in you just learn to be with them and let them take control of what's happening. And if they ask you, well, then you have the open invitation to actually do it. Or you ask them, is it okay? But to just run in and do it, my opinion is, I think I don't know if you're always serving the right purpose by doing it. What do you say, Sanjay? How can you take us out on this?
I'll take the same example what you said, like if two people are in the water, so it's nice, very nice. So we can grab them by, I don't think you will be able with me, but maybe by the hair. And then maybe grab by collar or something, yeah?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, then you don't have to drown because there's a way of reaching. And or you can say, hey, like float, like move your hands. No, don't like, or do as such. So likewise, you can, like you said, if you try to jump in and then sometimes they drag you down
Yeah.
with themselves. So you can be far and say, make like a guidance for them. Or if things are becoming difficult, like people like you throw like a life jacket or a float or something. And not only that, you can say, hey, why don't you like move your hands in some sequence, keep a float, or slowly move towards that direction. Or you can, if nothing works, you can grab them by the hair or the collar or something, and then slowly move them without getting yourself drowned. Yeah, what you say is so true. Like even deep meditation, for example, even simplified version like loving kindness. There's some stage we break the boundaries. So actually, we give different people scoops of different levels, different portions. But there's a stage that comes. So sometimes we say, oh, we have loving kindness towards everybody. But some people we give a small scoop. Some people we give a bigger scoop. It happens. Or maybe people we dislike. Should I? Or like, oh no, you don't get your scoop, right? So, but in loving kindness, even before vipassana and deeper stages, there comes a stage like you can have the same level of concentration for a respectful person, a person who is very close to you, a neutral person, as well as a person whom you dislike. And there's like first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, like very strong absorption levels also. When you come to that, you have the same kind of mind frame and you have really broken the boundaries in a worldly sense. But if you become enlightened, no problem. So then there's, yeah, it will be very nice. And then, but in for now, the things we can do also through like things like that, also, you come to a stage of mind, you treat everybody in the same sense, and it's not just wording because you have that mind state within you. There are ways to know these stages. uh, and then there's access concentration, there's absorption concentration, first level, second level, third level, like that. It just goes to third jhana. So then okay, like I really have this. But otherwise, we can just say by word. So yeah, like if you use the drowning or the simile or example of two people in the water, we can be there with them, we can guide them, and if they are falling into the deep, we can just pull them back without getting ourselves also drowned, no?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Did that answer your question, Paul? Or
Yeah. So
did
what
it
I
spark
drew
more?
from that was, I guess it would be to revolve around empathy and revolve around, for want of a better word, calming themselves to the moment, to take, because when I talk about getting someone to, to connect or whatever, it's a busy mind where someone might be off in a whole bunch of different directions, and how to say, hey, let's get back to the job at hand, which is getting you to actually be honest with yourself and think right. And I think that's sort of what you described in what you said there.
Yeah, I think it's the holding space, and we use the water analogy there.
Yeah.
Water metaphor, really. And that's just, once you're in the water, you are the water, become the water. If you kick and flap around, you'll gas yourself out, and you'll fight it.
Yeah, and you just end up in a worse spot. Yeah,
If
exactly.
you're caught in a rip, go with it.
Yeah,
Don't fight against it. So the same thing is when you come across a person, from a coaching perspective here, is you don't just go in and try and fix it, is because you're coming in without the backstory.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a couple of people around me that are incredibly disconnected at the moment, and just trying to have a chat with them and bring them into some sort of calming and more level-headed environments. It's an interesting thing as a person who's only just trying to get it sorted themselves. But yeah, it's not my job, but it's just, I guess, just being in the pool with them and making sure they don't drown.
Yeah, and then you could offer them a meditation. I'm sure Sanji would like to do a meditation. I'm sure I definitely would. You can offer them that if you find that they're doing it.
Yeah, I have suggested that. Yeah.
Table.
Thank you, Sanji.
Okay.
But yeah, and Laura, is there anything? Would you like to say anything? You don't have to. It's all good. No. Okay. Happy.
Sign language.
I guess on the closing part is, let's just do this here. Hey, look at that. Oh, it didn't work. It's on the closing side of it. What's a really good one small step you can take away this week to deepen your connection? Something that really matters to you. So I'll leave that with you, and that's how we'll finish. But please think about that. So what's one thing you can do to actually deepen a connection for you in whatever capacity that is, whether it's with yourself, with someone else, a work colleague, or it just could be someone that you've never spoken to before, or someone that you see on the street, like an act of kindness. So just think about that and see how you can deepen yourself on that level. And I'd love to just thank you everyone for coming today. I really do appreciate it. Sanji, thank you so much. You're an amazing co-host, mate. A lot of wisdom in there. I'm really looking forward to learning more. And
we all share.
the community that we're creating here, it's just, I love it. It's gold. It's what this whole program's about, the listening room. And as you probably learn, it's not just about listening. It's having your voice so everyone in the room listens.
Good.
So the more you talk, the better, which is great. And sometimes we understand that's difficult to do. But the idea of it is it's a safe space. So we'd love to see you back next Tuesday at 6:30. And we'll talk about compassion. So we'll see you then. So thanks for coming.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you.